it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have a random book haul for you, so stay tuned. So in the process of going through boxes in my garage and stuff, preparing for this move, I came across a box of books that I hadn't hauled yet and that haven't been on my shelves. So I thought I would take this opportunity to film this quick little haul video and show these books to you. So the first book I have here is Garfields' Big Fat Hairy Joke Book, written by Jim Kraft and Mark Acey. And my nephews, they're just a few years old, are really big into jokes right now, and I've been telling them jokes over the phone, so I thought this would be fun to like tell them some of these jokes. Also, I have Eat This, Not That for kids, and it just kind of shows like better options. Like SpaghettiOs is 180 calories and 1 gram of fat versus Kraft macaroni and cheese dinner, which is 410 calories and 19 grams of fat. Things like that. And it's just showing you, you know, better options and things that kids would still enjoy eating. And we are trying to be healthier here. And the last kid kind of book I have is Let's Meet Great Americans, written by Beverly Inwall, illustrated by Carol Isberg. And, well, this is just a bunch of great American people in history, like George Washington Carver or Thomas Edison. And I thought this would be good for Xander and homeschooling. Okay, the next book I have here is The Other Daughter by Lisa Gardner. And this says, 20 years ago, Melanie Stokes was abandoned in a Boston hospital, then adopted by a wealthy couple. Gifted with a loving family, Melanie has always considered herself lucky. Until tonight. Tonight, a has-been reporter turns up investigating her past. Tonight, the first note arrives saying, "You get what you deserve." And tonight, Melanie has her first horrifying vision of the past. Melanie has no memory of her life before the adoption. Now someone wants to give it back, even if it includes the darkest nightmare the Stokes family ever faced: the murder of their first daughter in Texas. As Melanie desperately searches for her real identity, two seemingly unrelated events from the past will come together in a dangerous explosion of truth. And I don't think I ever actually got around to reading this one, so I'm excited to have it back on my shelf. Okay, so this next book I actually did start reading like years and years ago, and I guess I ended up putting it down, and I think I was also a little intimidated by it because it's such a huge book. It doesn't look like it's all that huge because it's a mass market paperback, but it is a huge book. It's 983 pages. It's a big book. And the only thing I really know about it, I think it was like an Oprah book club book many years ago. And it follows a family where the father is looking to get a job building cathedrals, and this is set like a long time ago, and it doesn't sound like it would be all that impressive, but I do remember reading like, I don't know how much, the first like 50 or 100 pages or something like that, and I actually really enjoyed it. And this is not really the style of book that I would normally read, but it was written so well and so vividly that I was like totally in there. So I pulled up on Goodreads so I could tell you about it a little bit better than what I'm actually saying. And I can tell you this book has gotten 568,224 ratings and has a rating of 4.3 on Goodreads. So that's really impressive. Okay, so this says, Ken Follett is known worldwide as the master of split-second suspense. But his most beloved and best-selling book tells the magnificent tale of a 12th century monk driven to do the seemingly impossible: build the greatest Gothic cathedral the world has ever known. Everything readers expect from Follett is here: intrigue, fast-paced action, and passionate romance. But what makes The Pillars of the Earth extraordinary is the time, the 12th century, the place, feudal England, and the subject, the building of a glorious cathedral. Follett has recreated the crude, flamboyant England of the Middle Ages in every detail. The vast forests, the walled towns, the castles, and the monasteries become a familiar landscape. Against this richly imagined and intricately interwoven backdrop, filled with the ravages of war and the rhythms of daily life, the master storyteller draws the reader irresistibly into the intertwined lives of his characters, into their dreams, their labors, and their loves. Tom, the master builder; Elenia, the ravishingly beautiful noblewoman; Philip, the prior of Kingsbridge; Jack, the artist in stone; and Ellen, the woman of the forest who casts a terrifying curse. From humble stonesman to imperious monarch, each character is brought vividly to life. The building of the cathedral, with the most eerie artistry of the unschooled stonemasons, is the center of the drama. Around the site of the construction, Follett weaves a story of betrayal, revenge, and love, which begins with the public hanging of an innocent man and ends with the humiliation of a king. Oh, and apparently there's a movie tie-in edition. I didn't even know it was a movie. But this book came out in 2002. But from what I do remember reading of it, it really was so immersive. And I remember even now, and this has been, like I said, many, many years since I've read this, I remember their journey going from one place to another looking for work. I remember a romantic encounter in the woods, and it was really, really well written, and I do actually want to read this completely at some point. But as I said, it's a beast, but at some point I will get to it. Okay, next up is a sexy time book, and that is Tempted by Megan Hart. And I mean, you can just tell by the cover, it's a sexy time book. It says, for readers who enjoy erotica with real life characters and situations and a healthy dose of steamy graphic sex. And that's the Library Journal on Dirty Spice. So the back says, I had everything a woman could want. My husband James, the house on the lake, my life, our perfect life. And then Alex came to visit. The first time I saw my husband's best friend, I didn't like him. Didn't like how James changed when he was around. Didn't like how his penetrating eyes followed me everywhere. But that didn't stop me from wanting him. And surprisingly, James didn't seem to mind. It was meant to be fun, something the three of us shared for those hot summer weeks Alex stayed with us. Nobody was supposed to fall in or out of love. I didn't need another man, not even one who oozed sex like honey and knew all the secrets I didn't know, the secrets my husband hadn't shared. After all, we had a perfect life, and I loved my husband. But I wasn't the only one. Oh. And well, that just sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, next up is a book that I think is actually Marty's book, and it just ended up with mine. And that is The Next 100 Years, a Forecast of the 21st Century. And it looks like it's just about predictions for the next 100 years. And it was published, I believe, in 2009. And so one of the predictions that are here, that's here on the front, is for 2020, and it says China fragments. Who knows? I'm curious to see if there's any predictions that have been from 2009 to 2019. So if anything that he predicted to happen over the next 10 years has actually happened or not. Okay, this next book kind of goes along with what I'm trying to do while packing and preparing for this move and everything. Plus, it goes very much with this whole Marie Kondo, KonMaring method of cleaning and stuff. This is called Organize Now by Jennifer Ford Berry, And it's a week-by-week guide to simplify your space and your life. And well, it's just something to help you get everything organized. Like week 25 here is organize your refrigerator, and it's like goals and things to do in organizing your fridge. Week 18 is organize your pet. Week 6 is organize your finances. Week 40, organize your basement. And being that we're moving, it wouldn't be bad to start with this. Okay, next up is a book that I don't know if I ever finished reading it or not, but I know Marty and I both were reading it at one point years ago, and it was really, really good, and it teaches you a lot of really good things, and I'd like to like go forth and do this again. And it's called The Love Dare, and it's from the hit movie Fireproof, and it's actually just like, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, because this again was years ago, but I believe it's a Christian movie, and it's about, I guess, rekindling a marriage and repairing a marriage and ways that you can reconnect. And they did this thing called The Love Dare in that movie, and so they made a book pretty much with a step-by-step of how to do the Love Dare. And for any couple, I think it's a great thing to do, and so I want to do this again, because I don't know that we actually ever finished it. Here in the beginning it says, receive this as a warning. This 40-day journey cannot be taken lightly. It is a challenging and often difficult process, but an incredibly fulfilling one. To take this dare requires a resolute mind and a steadfast determination. It is not meant to be sampled or briefly tested, and those who quit early will forfeit the greatest benefits. If you will commit to a day at a time for 40 days, the results could change your life and your marriage. Consider it a dare from others who have done it before you. And so, like, each day it has, like, day 1 is love is patient, and it talks all about that. And then it tells you what the dare is. And like the dare for day 1 is, the first part of this dare is fairly simple. Although love is communicated in a number of ways, our words often reflect the condition of our heart. For the next day, resolve to demonstrate patience and say nothing negative to your spouse at all. If the temptation arises, choose not to say anything. It's better to hold your tongue than say something you'll regret. And then you like check there when you've completed today's dare. And then it asks you a question and gives you like the opportunity to fill in the little blanks. And it says, did anything happen today to cause anger towards your mate? Were you tempted to think disapproving thoughts and to let them come out in words? Okay, so let's skip to like halfway through. Day 15, love is honorable. Choose a way to show honor and respect to your spouse that is above your normal routine. It may be holding the door for her. It might be putting his clothes away for him. It may be the way you listen and speak in your communication. Show your mate that he or she is highly esteemed in your eyes. So let's skip towards the back here. Day 33, love completes each other. Recognize that your spouse is integral in your future success. Let them know today that you desire to include them in your upcoming decisions and that you need their perspective and counsel. If you've ignored their input in the past, admit your oversight and ask them to forgive you. And yeah, it was just, I thought it was a great way to kind of help keep you focused on the relationship and not just get caught up in just all of the regular day-to-day stuff, and to consciously think about doing something or saying something that's nice or helpful or whatever to your significant other. And I want to try this again. Okay, the next book here, which is looking pretty worse for wear, and I have no idea where the jacket is. This is called Brimstone by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. And apparently this is the 5th book in the Pendergast series. But I don't think you have to actually read them in sequential order. I think they can stand alone by themselves because it's kind of an FBI type thing. And this is another book that I do recall reading many, many years ago, but I don't know if I actually ever finished it or not because it was so long ago, and I really don't think I did. I wonder if there's a bookmark in here. I may have finished it since I have no bookmark, but I had to pull up on Goodreads because all I could really remember was there was something like a devil's hoof print in an attic, scorched in the wood, and the smell of brimstone or something like that. And then there's like an FBI agent as well. So here's what it says on Goodreads. And also, this is another highly rated book. It has 30,516 ratings and has a 4.13 Goodreads rating. So this says, behind the gates of a fabulous Hamptons estate, FBI Special Agent Pendergast comes upon the carnage of a gruesome crime, one that recalls the legendary horrors that befall those who make a Faustian pact with the devil. Surrounded by the choking stench of brimstone, the smoldering remains of an art critic, Jeremy Grove, are found in a lock-barricaded attic next to a hoof print singed into the floorboards. Unable to resist a case that defies all but supernatural logic, Pendergast reunites with police officers Vincent D'Agosta, Relic, and Laura Hayward, Reclory, to search for a more earthly explanation. But their investigation soon takes them from the luxury estates of Long Island and the penthouses of New York City to the crumbling, legend-shrouded castles of the Italian countryside, where 30 years ago, 4 men conjured up something unspeakable. And I really don't think I actually finished it. I do remember the scene where the body's been found, the hoof print's been found, the FBI agents showing up, and things are under investigation, and other family members are there. But that's really all I remember about this book. Okay. Y'all are gonna laugh at the next 3 books I have. Because I didn't even realize that I still had these. But I have Twilight, Eclipse, and New Moon. Yep. I have the Twilight series. And I don't feel like I need to actually tell y'all about the Twilight series because everybody knows about this series, I believe. Okay, so next up we have a book by one of my favorite authors, and that is Dean Koontz, and this is Life Expectancy. This is actually one that I don't think I've ever read. I think I bought it right before all of these got packed away, and that was a move that was many years ago. Like 2 houses before this one, I think. I think back when we lived in Maryland. Anyway, let me just read you what this one says. With his best-selling blend of nail-biting intensity, daring artistry, and storytelling magic, Dean Koontz returns with an emotional roller coaster of a tale filled with enough twists, turns, shocks, and surprises for 10 ordinary novels. Here is the story of 5 days in the life of an ordinary man born to an extraordinary legacy. A story that will challenge the way you look at good and evil, life and death, and everything in between. Life Expectancy. Jimmy Talk comes into the world on the very night his grandfather leaves it. As a violent storm rages outside the hospital, Rudy Talk spends long hours walking the corridors between the expectant father's waiting room and his dying father's bedside. It's a strange vigil made all the stranger when at the very height of the storm's fury, Joseph Talk suddenly sits up in bed and speaks coherently for the first and last time since his stroke. What he says before he dies is that there will be 5 dark days in the life of his grandson. 5 dates whose terrible events Jimmy will have to prepare himself to face. The first is to occur in his 20th year, the second in his 23rd year, the third in his 28th, the fourth in his 29th, and the 5th in his 30th. Rudy is all too ready to discount his father's last words as a dying man's delusional rambling. But when he discovers that Joseph also predicted the time of his grandson's birth to the minute, as well as his exact height and weight, and the fact that Jimmy would be born with syndactyly, the unexplained anomaly of fused digits on his left foot, suddenly the old man's predictions take on a chilling significance. What terrifying events await Jimmy on these 5 dark days? What nightmares will he face? What challenges must he survive? As the novel unfolds, picking up Jimmy's story at each of these crisis points, the path he must follow will defy every expectation. And with each crisis he faces, he will move closer to a fate he could never have imagined. For who Jimmy Talk is and what he must accomplish on the 5 days when his world turns is a mystery as dangerous as it is wondrous. A struggle against an evil so dark and pervasive, only the most extraordinary of human spirits can shine through. And I just love all of Dean Koontz books. They're so good. Okay, next up we have 2 Sandra Brown books that I honestly don't know where they came from. We have Hello Darkness and Smokescreen. I won't read you the whole thing of this because it covers both flaps, but I will read you this little part. It says, Hello Darkness is the gripping story of a woman haunted by her past and caught in a nightmare that threatens to destroy her future. It's a brilliant, fast-paced tale, electric with sexual tension, by one of America's most popular authors of sophisticated suspense. So that sounds interesting to me with just that. And the cover is really weird on this one. I think because it was like a library book or something and the plastic is gone. So this is like really thin and flimsy. But, ooh, that is interesting. On the back, the actual book is just white. But on the front, it looks like that. Which is really cool. And again, I'll just read you this little bit because the description is the front and back flap. This is #1 New York Times bestselling author Sandra Brown is back with a blistering story about corruption, betrayal, and the ultimate abuse of power. And I see something about a newswoman, a detective in the Charleston PD, some kind of investigation. Friends are exposed as foes, heroes take on the taint of criminals, and no one can be trusted completely. Honestly, I have no idea where these came from. Like, this one is from Clyde W. Roddy Public Library. I have no idea where that is. They're both from there. I'm gonna have to look that up. This must have come from a library sale or something, or one of the free book days at the library. Well, that it wouldn't have been at the library, but this, because these are from a library that is 40 minutes away from here that I've never been to. So weird. Okay, maybe somebody gave them to me, I don't know. But those are all of the books in my random book haul for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!